kind of how did you get started with the Guido Foundation and everything?
All right. Well, sadly, my son was killed by an unlicensed reckless driver back in 2019. We're looking forward to. Supposed to be filled with dance and fun and dates and dinner. And he hopped into the car in the front seat with a driver who transferred to our school, hadn't been there that long, who was driving a BMW. And Conner yelled to his friend Logan, who hopped into the back seat, and they had to go 1 mile, just 1 mile down the road. And the things that you find out after the crash are probably the things that are the most disheartening. To learn that the driver was underage, he was unlicensed, and he'd been posting and bragging on social media about how fast he drove and that he didn't really care whether you cared about it or not. So when he took the curve, leaving the dance, just a quarter mile down the road, he was double the legal speed limit, ran off the road, flipped the car, hit a tree, and killed all three of them that night instantly. So since that time, back in 2019, it was a decision, right? Whether lay down and die or stand up and fight. And so we are fighting, and we are trying to raise awareness and continue to make sure that parents are involved and realize that they're the number one influencer on their teens for their safe driving.
And talk to me about how, all the good work that you do in your foundation, how that plays into the kind of the hundred, what's now known as the 100 deadliest days, and where that comes from.
Well, and I think honestly, as a parent, you don't know what you don't know until it affects you, right? I mean, if your child winds up with cancer or a disability, you don't really know all the things that surround that topic until it happens to you. So when Conner was killed and we decided to stand up and fight, it was really becoming educated in the rules and the laws and how they are, what they should be, bills that should have been out there for our teenagers and our parents to use to help spread the word for safe driving. We really threw ourselves into becoming very educated on what it meant to be a safe teen driver, especially here in Virginia. So lucky we were to work with a great senator, Tommy Norment, who sponsored both of our bills that we passed in the state of Virginia, one geared towards safety in the parking lot by making sure that they have a driver's license if they're driving a vehicle to and from school each day. And then our second bill, which was geared towards parents and making sure that they get involved. Again, we know parents are the number one influencer of their teens' safe driving behaviors. And, if you're texting and driving and you're eating and driving, your parents, your children are going to do the same thing, right? We're going to mimic our behaviors that we see from our parents. So we were able to accomplish those two bills, which was wonderful, but also our anonymous website. If you see something, say something.org, because we really wanted to make sure that teenagers knew they had an anonymous voice, that they can speak up. They don't have to worry about being a rat or a snitch. Back when I was in school, it was no fun to be a rat or a snitch. And I guarantee it isn't today, for these teenagers with social media, you can be ostracized in the blink of an eye. So once we got through some of the things that we were trying to accomplish, we did learn about the 100 deadliest days of summer. That starts today, Memorial Day, and goes through Labor Day. And really what it means is those 100 days are the days where we're going to lose the most number of teenagers, unfortunately, in Virginia and all over the country. Teens are home from school. Parents are still going to work. They're going to be driving different hours, different ways, with other, maybe more teenagers in a vehicle, which we know is a problem. So that 100 deadliest days is very well known, but what we've started is 100 safest days of summer. So I'm very fortunate to work with the National Road Safety Foundation. We save lives, impact teen drivers, and quite a few other organizations so that we can raise awareness during known as the 100 safest days of summer.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm sorry that when you started talking about the 100 safest days and the 100 that part, my internet sort of went a little wonky and you froze. And then can we just kind of go over that one more time?
Yep. So from Memorial Day to Labor Day is known as the 100 deadliest days of summer. And what that means is that our teenagers are going to be out on the roadways at times that they would normally be at school. Parents are going to be at work. Kids are going to be on our roadways. We want to make sure they're not carrying too many people in the vehicle with them, that they're not driving distracted and texting and driving. But these 100 days are known as the 100 deadliest days because that's when we lose more teenagers and here in Virginia and all over the country. So we have been able to start a coalition and work towards now calling it 100 safest days of summer. So I'm very privileged to be able to work with the National Road Safety Foundation, We Save Lives, Impact Teen Drivers, and several other key organizations where over these 100 days, we're going to share tips and tools for teenagers and parents. We want to make sure that teenagers are stepping up to the plate to be safe on our roadways, but we want to make sure our parents are engaged and that they understand that their behavior needs to be spot on because that's what the teen is going to mimic is what they see their parents doing. So over these next 100 days, we're going to call them the 100 safest days of summer. And we want to prevent as many fatalities on our roadways as possible by giving you guys resources and tips and making sure that everyone gets involved in making May to Labor Day the 100 safest days of summer.
What are some of those tips and tricks that people can take, because the Exodus is going to start tonight and, from Hampton Roads, especially to busy, high tourist traffic area. What are some tips and tricks that people on the road should be, whether they're on the lookout for when they think they see a teen driver, or even what should teen drivers know? If they're done for this, they're done, they're going down to Virginia Beach for a day to hang out at the beach and now they're heading back home. What should they know, before they hit the road?
Well, we want to make sure that everyone is engaged. So whether you're a bus driver, whether you're a large truck driver, whether you're a van, a car, we need to be aware of what's on our roadways. We need to make sure we're slowing down and moving over for our emergency roadside workers. Teens need to limit the number of passengers in a vehicle. That is the number one cause of teen fatality deaths is too many people in a vehicle. We need to be conscious of, yes, it's summer. We want you to have fun, but we need you to be safe. You need to buckle up. Number one thing, Click It or Ticket here in Virginia just launched again. And we need to make sure teens are buckled up. We know that seatbelts save lives. So we want to make sure that we're encouraging them to not eat behind the wheel, right? It's easy to run through the drive-through and grab a quick snack. But we need to make sure that we're not eating behind the wheel. We're not texting and driving. And God, hope that we're not drinking or drugging and driving because those things don't belong behind the wheel. Our teenagers are driving a 3,000-pound weapon. And that's what we need them to understand. This is not a game. This isn't a joke. When you get behind that wheel, it is not just your life, it's everyone else's lives out on our roadways that are in your hands. And we need to make sure that as parents, we're stepping up to the plate. We're having those tough conversations, right? We're sitting down at the dinner table and saying, okay, look, I have to go to work tomorrow, but we need to make sure that you understand when you get behind that wheel, the impact that you could possibly have to yourself or anyone else.
Perfect. And for you, I guess I want to ask, when you hear about a teen, just not even in the 100 days, just across the entire year, you hear about, how does that ever bring back any old memories, any old, what does that, when you hear about young kids dying, especially reckless driving or whatever the case may be?
Well, sadly, we've lost 5 teenagers in the last month here in the area, and it's debilitating. It really is rehashing and reliving everything that happened to us on that fateful night, October 26, 2019. And my heart just bleeds for these parents because I know what they're going through. And it's even more frustrating because we know it's preventable, right? All the hard work that I've been trying to accomplish over these past 4.5 years, it's almost like, gosh, nobody listened. Gosh, why did they do that? 2 of the fatalities, I've spoke at their schools in the past year. Now, do we know that the teenagers were in that session? We don't know that, right? But what we do know is it's preventable. And that's the one thing that we need to make sure everybody understands is education is the key. We're not going to sweep it under the rug. We're not going to act like it didn't happen. We need to celebrate their lives and we need to use these unfortunate, deadly examples as what they are, bringing awareness and education to our teenagers to keep them safe on our roadways.
All right. That's all I have. Anything else you'd like to say before we sign off here?
I'd like to just remind the public to please use if you see something, say something.org. This anonymous website is not just for driving. Of course, that's where it stemmed from with Connor's crash, but we want to make sure that you know drugs, alcohol, bullying, sexual assaults, ammunition. We get tips all over the country, not just here in Virginia. And we work with the local authorities to make sure they're being addressed properly. But that is your way to speak up. So we want you to speak up. We want you to feel comfortable and know that it's completely anonymous.